Wow. Canelo Alvarez by DAZN employees or people that work with DAZN now being urged to avoid a rematch, an immediate rematch with Dmitry Bivol. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, Canelo Alvarez loses to Dmitry Bivol, however you pronounce it. And boy, it was a dominant performance. Dmitry Bivol looked sensational, brilliantly boxed. His last two performances had actually left more to be desired, and this could very well be why Canelo Alvarez selected him, and it didn't play out. It looks like it backfired. That's why people are saying cherry pick gone wrong. So now Canelo's being urged not to take the Bivol rematch. Wow, let's talk about it. But first, a quick PSA. Now, there are some Canelo man fans, the Chupapi Muñeños, that are saying and leaving comments, oh, Ego, why are you doing another video about Canelo? All you do is talk about Canelo, trying in an effort because they do not want to hear about how Canelo was dominated by Dmitry Bivol. So they're trying to deter or change the programming. Listen, YouTube has metadata titles. You can click on the video if you want to hear about that subject or not. The choice is yours. In addition, as you see from the screen grabs, these are the built-in analytics from YouTube. And as you guys can see, we're all in the green. The views are up. We're hitting record-breaking numbers. So I'm a results-driven channel. YouTube does an amazing job of providing data for its full-time content creators, such as myself. So I'm not driven by comments. If you want to watch a Canelo video done by Boxer Ego, enjoy. If not, the comments will not change the content that comes out. The results and the analytics tell me what I need to be talking about. So as long as there's a demand and the results are there, the numbers are there, clearly I and my content is resonating with somebody. So watch it or don't watch it. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Canelo Alvarez is being urged by many people who work with DAZN to duck Dmitry Bivol. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. In what world would somebody who just last week was rated #1 pound for pound and listed as the favorite to beat Bivol, when they see the outcome and how the fight played out, brilliant performance by Dmitry Bivol, now the same people, including the promoter he's working with, British promoter Eddie Hearn, who said he was going to take over America, right? They're now urging him, as you guys see from these articles and interviews from the two, Tony Bellew and Eddie Hearn, they're urging him to avoid the rematch. In what world does this happen for a pound for pound #1 fighter? This is insanity at its finest. Can you imagine anybody who said that Mayweather lost to Castillo? Somebody that said Floyd Mayweather lost to Maidana, stating and telling Floyd Mayweather, hey, Maidana hits too hard. Maidana's too big for you. He beat you up in the first fight. Don't ever rematch him. Don't do an immediate rematch. Don't fight Castillo. He's too good. Can anybody in this video imagine that being when Andre Ward was the consensus #1 pound for pound person after Floyd retired, and it was clearly Andre Ward? Can anyone imagine Andre Ward being told by his own promoter or the people, his backers, or his team, saying, don't fight Sergey Kovalev. The first fight was too close for comfort. Don't go in there again. You should fight a 40-year-old Triple G. That, my friends, is exactly what Canelo's team is telling him. Eddie Hearn has famously said he's on Canelo's team. Even in the Caleb Plant fight, Eddie Hearn said, hey, I'm part of the team. Canelo, trust me. There's pictures of Eddie Hearn and Canelo Alvarez hugging and things like that. So they've developed a kinship or a bond. Can you imagine Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford? Let's say they fight for undisputed. One person wins, one person loses. Can you imagine Errol Spence's people saying, don't do a rematch? Can you imagine if Terrence Crawford loses, his people saying, don't do a rematch? This, again, is what's happening with Canelo Alvarez, right? Even Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Oh, my God. The guy that many people with old media specifically said Wilder has no skills. Wilder is a one-handed puncher. All he has is a bazooka for a right hand and no skills. He's Wild Wilder. He's Bum Squad. All these names that they call Deontay Wilder, but yet and still, and for Wilder fans, a lot of the racists, including some of the racist Canelo fans, they told you that Wilder's a bum and he lost the first Tyson Fury fight. And if you like Wilder, that you were a groupie or you were this and that, or you're affiliated with this group or that group. These are the things that were said. But guess what? Even the people who are insulted for being Wilderettes or Wilder fans or whatever people were calling them, I didn't see anyone telling Deontay Wilder, don't pursue Tyson Fury. And he did that. Deontay Wilder is a true warrior because come hell or high water, he was looking for rematches. He thought something was amiss in the second fight, and he even went through lengths of legal proceedings and litigations and mediations to ensure that he was granted a third fight. Even though the fight didn't play out for him, he was knocked out. He showed a lot of heart, dropped Tyson Fury twice and hurt him, you know. Tyson Fury weathered the storm, got back up, and ended up stopping Deontay Wilder. But the point I'm making is, look at the heart on Wilder. He got a heart the size of Alabama, because even though people said you got your butt kicked in the first two fights, or you lost the first two fights, you were knocked out in the second fight, Wilder wanted his redemption. And he said, don't nobody throw in the towel. And he made that specifically and abundantly clear. But with Canelo, you see Canelo fans and his own promoter and someone else who works with DAZN, Tony Bellew, they're telling him to fight a 40-year-old Triple G who didn't even look good versus Murata that Canelo already beat years ago, right? And they're saying, don't fight Bivol. And he's the one that picked Bivol. Wow. Wow. Now, to add insult to injury, Canelo Alvarez claims that he beat Dmitry Bivol. So how did he beat him? And he gave Bivol only 4 or 5 rounds. That's what he told people. But your own promoter doesn't want to see you fight Bivol in a rematch. And Bivol came out and said, I'll fight you at 168 or 175 in a rematch. My goal is undisputed, but you gave me an opportunity. You have the star power in the name, so I can give you an opportunity too. And you hear old media and Eddie Hearn and Tony Bellew, and they're saying, hey, don't mess with no Bivol. So what does that say about Canelo Alvarez? Wow, this is remarkable. Canelo just last week was #1 pound for pound, but now no one has faith for him to avenge a bad loss to Dmitry Bivol. They're saying, hey, close your eyes, you know, pretend it was a nightmare, go back to bed and worry about somebody else. Fight a 40-year-old Golovkin. Insanity. I'll talk about this more. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what this means for Canelo. Like, I knew the loss would be bad, just all things considered, but the Canelo fans are having an extremely difficult time coping with Canelo losing. And it shows you that there's no faith. They said Canelo was the greatest Mexican fighter ever. Eddie Hearn just said this, right? He made an argument for the strongest Mexican, but no one told Juan Manuel Marquez, who's one of my favorite fighters from Mexico ever, to not fight Pacquiao again. Marquez even wore shirts like I beat Pacquiao twice, trying to get that work again. And this is when Pacquiao was lumping up guys' faces, making them bleed, etc., etc. And now the Canelo fans who hoisted Canelo up and put him on a pedestal, they're begging for him not to take the Bivol rematch. They're saying stuff like, oh, why does Bivol want to fight Canelo? He already beat him. He needs to go after Joe Smith Jr. and better be a winner. Wow, this is what the Canelo fans have been reduced to. And they're telling Boxing Ego, hey, even though you're making all this money, you're getting all this viewership, people are commenting, the engagement is up, the retention is up, the watch time is up, people are subscribing, stop talking about Canelo. Not gonna happen. Checkmate. Let me know how I did in this video. Subscribe if you like it. More Canelo videos coming soon. Deuces. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description, customized the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.